Ready? After their two-day meeting ended on Tuesday, leaders of the group of 20 top economists managed to say some of the right things, focusing on the Eurozone debt crisis, clearly the largest threat to the global economy. They pledged to do more to spur growth, ensure financial stability, and support a stronger European fiscal union. The question now is whether these words will ever translate into effective action. If the past 2 years of the euro crisis is any guide, the likely answer is no. As recession and banking crises have enveloped Greece, Ireland, Portugal, Spain, and Italy, the crisis response led by Germany has been dominated by relentless insistence on self-defeating austerity and piecemeal rescue plans. The result has been deeper recession, social unrest, and political upheaval in Europe, weaker economies, and increasing mistrust between the strong and weak nations of Europe. Precisely the wrong conditions for integrating the banks, budgets, and politics of Europe in a way that is needed for the long-term survival of the euro. Will this time be different? There are mounting reasons for Germany to alter its stance. For one, the stakes are higher. No sooner did the elections in Greece on Sunday ease fears of a disorderly Greek exit from the euro than borrowing costs spiked in Spain and Italy. Both countries must sell government bonds to refinance heavy debt loads, but investors, spooked by recession and financial instability, are instead pulling money out of the countries. That presages far greater challenges than Europe has faced thus far and underscores the failure of policies to stem the crisis. Against that backdrop, the world leaders had a chance to press Angela Merkel of Germany, Germany's chancellor, to provide stronger and more flexible bailout support. For example, by allowing Greece more time to meet the backbreaking terms of the bailout package, or injecting capital from the Eurozone directly into Spain's banks, or seeking more aggressive ways to lower interest rates for vulnerable borrowers, including issuance of a common euro bond or direct bond purchases by the European Central Fund. Ms. Merkel has long rejected such steps, but next week, when leaders of the European Union meet for a planned summit meeting, the discussions from the G20 could provide a foundation and political cover for her to begin making bolder actions. Then again, she could hold firm to her current stance. She has repeatedly insisted on austerity for hard-pressed countries, even when it has been a demonstrable failure. And while she has correctly asserted that more aid on better terms should be accompanied by greater European unity, the lack of unity appears to be an excuse to delay steps to ensure that adequate aid is available on unworkable terms. Under current policies, the Eurozone and the global economy have been put at high risk. By next week, we will find out whether world leaders at the G20 got through to Ms. Merkel. Given the history of shady dealings between banks and colleges, Congress needs to take a hard look at the increasingly common practice of schools contracting with banks to disburse financial dollars to students. In 2008, Congress finally barred student leaders from borrowing in such a way. And yet, the next year it required credit card companies marketing to young people and often paying schools or alumni associations for access to ensure that applicants had the means to pay before issuing cards. Debit cards have received less federal oversight, and according to a study by the United States Public Interest Research Group Education Fund, an advocacy organization, nearly 900 colleges and universities have card relationships with banks or other financial institutions, some of which manage student and disbursements by turning student IDs into debit cards. Some schools save money by outsourcing administrative costs. Others receive payments from the banks. Lawmakers are now pressing for answers as to these practices. Citing the study, Senator Richard Durbin, a Democrat of Illinois, along with Senator Jack Reed, a Democrat of Rhode Island, and Representative Peter Welch, a Democrat of Vermont, sent letters to 15 financial institutions asking each to provide information on campus card fees. Senator Durbin and Representative George Miller, a Democrat of California, have asked the Inspector General of the Department of Education to determine whether the arrangement hurt students or violated the federal regulations. They criticized the banks for what they described as aggressive and misleading marketing to students and for discharging hidden fees that could lead students to quickly deplete their aid accounts. The study pointed to some fees charged by the biggest players in the field. Student account holders are charged $29 the first time they overdraw and $38 after that. 50 cents for making a debt card purchase with a PIN, and $2.50 for using another bank's ATM to withdraw cash. Okay.